My name is Ana Rita. I am Portuguese and I live here in Australia. I've arrived here about 5 years ago. I grew up in Portugal, studied there, studied in Spain as well, worked a little bit in Europe, worked a little bit in South America, in Ecuador, and then finally arrived here to Sydney. And I have been working in this building, this beautiful place, for the past 5 years almost, at the Brain Dynamics Centre. We do neuroscience, neuroimaging research, various types of research studies and clinical trials, and I've been working as a clinical trial coordinator. And I recently embraced the PhD challenge in my life as well, so I just started my PhD too, and that's what I'm doing right now. So I speak 5 languages, and that's something that I'm really passionate about, being able to communicate with people from other countries. I am an advanced certified scuba diver. And I'm absolutely crazy about it. So swimming with the big whales and the big sharks and all the ocean animals and diving in these beautiful oceans. So that's something that I do apart from work. Yeah. When I was a little kid, maybe about 8 years old or something, I remember asking my parents for a microscope for Christmas instead of dolls or toys, and they gave me one. So I remember aiming to be a scientist, but I also remember aiming to be a journalist. I loved studying. I remember I was really into learning, and I remember loving nature sort of subjects, nature-related subjects, and natural sciences like biology, chemistry, even physics. It's easier for me to learn and to understand things if they were logical or natural. So I did high school, and then I did my bachelor's in psychology, and then master's degree in research, also in clinical psychology and neuroscience. And from there, I started working as a researcher. This really special project that I was helping running here at the Brain Dynamics Centre, it was a research study on bipolar disorder and depression. We were trying to find biomarkers to distinguish between these two disorders. We had to recruit over 120 patients in 2 years, which is a lot for a neuroimaging study, and I was responsible for the recruitment and the assessment of these patients and the follow-up of these patients. We met the goals, and for these 2 years I remember being so fascinated about learning with them and their families. So every time you recruited a new patient, you had to engage with them, with their carers, with their families. And I've learned so much about these disorders. I've learned so much about how is it to live with bipolar disorder, how is it to live with depression. So that was a very, very special project for me here. I feel really lucky that I'm able to combine 2 of my great passions in terms of my career, the clinical side of things and the research side of things. And especially here at this workplace, I'm able to combine both and to use my skill set in terms of neuroimaging, data analysis and processing. So I use these really complex techniques that technology allowed us to use nowadays, like the MRI, magnetic resonance imaging techniques and electroencephalography. So we use these complex techniques to help develop knowledge in terms of how do the psychiatric illnesses develop, what are their causes, and also to develop better solutions and better treatments for psychiatric illnesses. I like to believe that our work matters and will make the difference in terms of making psychiatry more efficient, more effective, and making the life of these patients easier and better. I think you need to be especially resilient because in science things don't always go as planned or as expected. Actually, most of the times they don't. It's the other way around. So you really need to be patient and very flexible and very resilient. I'm not an engineer, I'm a psychologist, I'm a clinician. I was never into coding. I liked maths, but I was never into programming or coding, and I never thought I was going to need that for my job. And it's maybe 50% of what we do in data analysis in science, in whatever field of science is nowadays. Because nowadays you have softwares developed and built to help you with your data analysis, with data processing. If you don't know how to program your own scripts to automate processes, you will take 100 times longer to do any analysis. So I had to learn how to program along the way. So my encouragement to high school students is probably to try to focus on the importance of learning all sorts of skills, because nowadays technology, engineering, science, math, as you're saying, they are going to be the basis of most of the professions and careers in the future. There are a lot of opportunities here in the Hub for employment and internships and learning opportunities It's very well interconnected in terms of different fields, so we have really close communication and work collaborations between the research centres and the hospital settings and other businesses around the hub, and that's a great boost for any work fields here.